How was the break? When I say break, it wasn't a break. Clearly, it was a working.
No, it was a working break. No, it was a break. It was a break of sorts. You know, a good run of games, good feel, obviously, and then to take that into a break, you know, of sorts. Like I say, a working break. Managed to get the team away. Good in the sense that obviously with the international wins, you lose a few, and so even if you get away, you can't take the whole group. And we literally took everyone with us just for 4 days. Really, really good place actually. The campus in Quinta del Lago, very nice, very great facility, and we took literally everyone. Took the medical team, we took the sports science team, ourselves, obviously, all the injured players. You know, we just wanted to lock in all the good work that's going on at the moment with a bit of a feel to it as well.
And also build a foundation now towards the end of the season.
Well, we've certainly. I think at first I said it's feeling better, and the way the group's going about it. And I think with that run, we've confirmed that we're in a better place. Lots of work to be done, obviously, but certainly on performances and results, then in a much better place than we were.
But I mean, surprisingly, it's a longer unbeaten run than you managed last season when everyone was giving you all the acclaim.
Yeah, well, that comes out of interesting circumstances, and in that, without crying in, I still think there was a couple of points we could have nabbed, but I mean, you know what it's like. You don't run away with yourself, or we certainly don't at this level, because it can change quickly. But it's fair to say we've changed on the positive side, and the players deserve a lot of credit, because it's not easy. When we're heavily questioned this season, myself, the team included, and I think to come out of that with a good run of performances and results is very, very pleasing. The players are certainly grounded enough to know there's more to come, and we've got to continue in that vein. When
you went away last season, you got a real kind of bouncing effect, didn't you? Did you do the same sort of stuff this time around, or change it completely?
No, similar. A good, really just looking for that balance between a bit of rest. Obviously, we've had more games this season, and a bit of work, and some downtime. It's important as well. And I think when the whole group's together, and it keeps the injured players. Unfortunately, we've had a lot of injuries this year, but it keeps them in with the group and the feel of it. So we just thought it was important. We were going to do it anyway, though. So I don't want to. Sometimes people misconstrue it and say, "Oh, because you've had some good results." It's irrelevant. If this window came if this opportunity came like it did last year, then we were definitely going to do it anyway. So it's not to do with just a change of results, but I think it does add to that with a good feeling in the camp at the moment.
You've got the figures and the facts and everything. Have you got those kind of? You talk about the amount of games you played at the start of the season. Are they out of the legs now, in some way?
Well, statistically, it's showing that, but the legs, hearts and minds I talk about, they've got to be aligned, and it's not always as simple as they're fit or not fit. Sometimes it's the alignment. Is the mind ready? Is the body ready? Is the mentality there? Is the heart there and intact? It's all them things. So it's not just about the running. It's all of it combined, and I think. There was a balance period where we were not as powerful as we had been physically, and then we've come back through that, and our stats are very, very strong at the moment, and they have been over this run of games.
In terms of injuries, any sort of headway for this weekend?
Well, every week it seems like I'm here, and then the next day or after the game I'm doing an interview saying who dropped before the game. We think Johan and Robbie come back. They trained today and they were good. So they come back into the thinking, which is good. Stephen's still struggling a bit and he's not ready yet. We'll find out more news on his situation. It just keeps getting calf injury. So, we've got to get on top of that. We'll get a further look with scans and a specialist just to confirm what's going on, because we can't quite get him there. He keeps getting close. I think John Walters obviously is longer term, but doing nicely. Oh, and Aaron Lennon going along nicely, but still a bit, a longer view at the moment. So we're getting there. But like I say, hopefully my words stand true and they stay fit.
Was the Spurs game at Wembley one of those kind of examples of the performance without the result? I mean, they squeaked it obviously right in the end.
Different kind of performance. We went down there quite obviously to defend and counter. Very difficult. Tottenham are a top side, and they've nicked something in the end. And got the win. So a bit of frustration, but I did say around that time that the team was looking different. The energy, the belief in what we were doing was coming back, and I think I'm very pleased to say that that mentality continued, and the performances and the tactical side of things they've sharpened up and continue to do so. And then you add in that energy and that drive and that relentless nature, and all of a sudden we look somewhere back to where we were, and that's followed with good results. I think the main challenge is continuing, to find that consistency no matter who you're playing. And I think we've done well with that. We went to Old Trafford and delivered a very strong performance and a good performance against the top side. We're going to have to do that again because Tottenham are a top side. And Personally, I think they should and are being considered, I think, now as being possible title contenders. They've still got some work to do, to catch up. Obviously, Liverpool are amazing at the moment. Man City equally, for different reasons. But Tottenham should be factored in, I think, and I think they're earning the right to be factored in.
Pochettino said that they couldn't impose themselves on you at that stage. I think, as you say, it was a kind of defence and counter-attack. But you're not just stopping sides now, though, are you? There's more creativity about you.
No, I think over a season, it's a season's work, and you have to be realistic. It's very difficult playing against some of these sides, and anywhere, but particularly at home. Well, their current home, and that being Wembley, but. You've got to find ways to get points. You've got to find ways to get a foothold in the game. Sometimes it opens up for you. Sometimes you have to work hard to defend it out. Sometimes, we've had to find very many different ways to try and win games and get points on the board in the Premier League. We continue to do that. At home is slightly different, not always, but often. But they're a top side, so we know we've got to defend well, but we've also got to attack well, which we have been doing, and we have been very effective with that in the last run of games of the 7 games. We've been very effective in attack.
He suggested this lunchtime that Harry Kane might be involved. He might be in the squad. I mean, from a centre-back's point of view, kind of thing. How good a striker is he? He's a top
striker. There's no top. Mind you, they've fared pretty well without him, it must be said. But no, he's a top striker, and arguably one of the best around. When fit and well, and I think as a pro as well. I've been fortunate enough to meet him and his family actually once on holiday and a couple of times in between. There's nothing that suggests to me anything other than a top-class professional.
And in terms of the player, just can do everything that a front man can.
I think he does more or less everything. For all that people say, is he really quick, which a lot of centre forwards are. He's clever with his brain, so he's quick in his brain, he's quick in his movement, he sees things very early. But like I say, it's been proven right. The fact that they're not just about Harry Kane, Tottenham. They've got some top players, I think, and I think that's been proven right while Harry Kane's been missing. But it is fair to say he definitely adds to it without a shadow of a doubt.
Just a final point: has the state of mind of your players changed again? Are you recognising? You talked about the habits and all those sort of things, but the way they're thinking about going into games, has that changed again?
I think that naturally comes from winning, from getting runs together, from being hard to beat, from all the good habits we've shown before. I think that just naturally comes, that feeling that, okay, we'll take on anything and anyone. I think it just grows. I think it's there. It has to be there in all footballers, by the way. There has to be an open-mindedness for the fact is, what ifs? Because on paper, a lot of these games, you shouldn't be able to compete, of course. Teams like yourself, but we have shown we can compete. When you're doing well yourselves, it only enhances that kind of inner spirit, the underdog mentality, which in these games we obviously are, but it can only enhance that feeling, and when that feeling's already growing because of results and performances, then it does give you that extra, little edge sort of thing. But you've got to, don't get me wrong, it's not as easy as that. You've got them in front of you who you've got to beat, and they're a top side, as I've suggested. But I think we go into these games, all games, but I think these ones particularly at the moment, with that extra bit of freedom to take it on, because we have been doing well.
Was being away, though, also an opportunity to set targets, or don't you work like that? In terms of...
No, the next target's the next game. I've been saying that for years, because we've never felt we were powerful enough to start, a bit of grandiose thinking and planning 2 and 3 games in advance. The next one's the most important one. We've found clarity in that way of working. I think maybe, you can't really guarantee, it's hard to measure, but maybe early season that was slightly different. Because for the first time we had no choice, because of the games programme, how quick the games come round. Maybe that altered the thinking slightly. I mean, you can't measure that, clearly. But who knows? It's certainly something I've reflected on and wondered, whether from a player point of view it was a slightly different feeling, because they knew that we had to pre-plan. We had no choice because of travel and all the rest of it. Whereas now there's back to that simplicity of the way we work. The next game's the most important one.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Cheers.
Sean, how is Stephen? Because it must be an incredibly frustrating time for him.
Yeah, it is. He's a very good professional. He's a top player, as we know, and he's been so up and down this season. It's been really tough for him, and so for us, we want all our players to be fit, and he's been missing. So, but he's a resilient fella. He's been through some injury periods before, so there is a resilience about him. So we hope that he gets well soon.
And is there kind of any idea yet why you keep breaking down?
Well, he'd had a couple of problems in the past with it, mainly his calves, and then obviously with his knee, that can sometimes alter your running gait. So I think there's a little bit of that, and the specialists are looking at that now, and the complications of that, because it's niggles more than anything. He keeps coming back and then getting a small niggle in a different place. So they're looking through that now.
another couple of weeks for Peter Crouch to kind of get to know everyone better? What's his sort of input?
No, he's been really good in the camp, good around the group. We know that anyway. He's a real character and a natural character. It's authentic. You know what he displays is what he is, and he's a good player. There's no two ways about it. And he's a very fit player. His stats have been superb. So there's no two ways about it. He certainly looks after himself. Thank you.
Yeah, cool. Well, the manager seemed pleased with the Portugal. Yeah, it was a break, but it was a training camp.
Yeah.
How did you find it?
Yeah, good. Yeah, it was nice to get a little bit of sun on the face and that. But actually, it wasn't a break. It was plenty of hard work for us. Obviously, not having a game at the weekend. The gaffer likes us to work as hard, and you know, it's keeping that sort of same level of intensity that, you know, I guess you would have through a game week, but maybe raising it a little bit with a bit of extra work at the end.
Was it almost kind of a staging post, thinking how much you've kind of achieved over the last few weeks, but also there's a job still to do now?
Yeah, definitely. You know, we had a little reflection, but yeah, it's been a good few weeks for us. You know, since the turn of the year. But definitely, yeah, we've got a lot of work to do. Still quite tight, as you know, and teams are winning games now at the bottom, and yeah, it's definitely tight, and we still need to work hard, and there's a lot of work to do for sure.
Can you pinpoint the kind of fundamental that's changed? I mean, you're all playing with belief and momentum now, but that has to start somewhere.
Yeah, definitely. It's difficult. You know, you get a few results, and we play the teams around us. You know, Huddersfield, Fulham, beat them, get on that little bit of a run. A little bit of belief comes, confidence comes, and you just sort of, all of a sudden you're 7 games in and you're not beaten. So it's one of them. You just get on a bit of a momentum run, and we've had it before at this club, and you know, just rolling in, and everyone knows the jobs. And I think just that mentality of going out there and knowing that everyone's sort of working in the right direction, it really, for some reason, it works really well for us at this club. And once we get on that roll, it seems to do itself. And yeah, just like I say, it works well for us. From
a defensive point of view, though, is it a coincidence that Tom comes back and everything changes? I'm not reflecting on everybody else, but you talk about knowing the jobs and knowing each other. Well, you all know Tom because you've played for the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, it's a big part of it, I guess. When he's come in, he's done really well. The 2 boys up top have been on form, firing goals in, you know, terrorising defences, doing really well, putting the bodies about. Dwight's come in, done really well as well, and performed well. And I think everyone's levels just raised a little bit. I think the defeat at Everton really put things in perspective as well. You know, getting battered like that is going to, you know, a bit of a realisation of the situation we were in, I guess. And obviously the changes came around and things happened, but I think players have stepped up definitely to the challenge.
But a result like that, 2 things happen. Either you kind of pull together and react to it, or the whole thing falls apart completely.
Yeah, for sure. And we had a reaction against West Ham after that, beat them, and obviously, like I say, we played the 2 teams around us and got 2 good wins there. So obviously that gives us the belief and the confidence, I think, to really go on and play well, I think, for the whole team.
In terms of Tom, though, is he playing some of the best football you've seen? I mean, people are now talking about England again.
Yeah.
I mean, the way he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen him over the years. Like, he's been fantastic. He's made some unbelievable saves. You know, I think he's come in with a real point to prove now. Obviously, there's 3, 4, 5 good goalkeepers here, and they're all fighting for them positions. And you know, he's showing now he wants to remain in there and be that number 1 for us. And
people talk about maybe Harry Kane being involved this weekend. In preparation for that, are Ashley and Chris good training for you?
Yeah, you know, the tough boys to play up against in training. Definitely, you know, what you see is what you get, especially, you know, with the physicality and everything like that. So yeah, you know, Harry's a good, you know, obviously similar build, and he's got the quality there as well, so he's obviously a big player for them. They've got some good players, to be fair, all around. Son, Ericsson, players like that, you know, who can come in and perform well like they have been doing. So I'm sure whoever they put out on the pitch is, you know, it's going to be a quality player, and you know, it's going to be a tough ask for us to, you know, to defend against them, but I'm sure it's one we can do.
But a proper goal threat does take the weight and the expectancy of the guys at the back, doesn't it?
For us, yeah. The 2 boys up front have been fantastic last couple of weeks, last couple of months, I guess now, nearly. Yeah, they've sort of stepped it up, and you can see the confidence is there for them. The touch is back, and everything's sort of going for them at the minute, and I think some defences have really you know, struggled against them and not enjoyed playing against them at all.
Would Ashley be the worst player to play against, basically?
Yeah, probably he's one of them, definitely. Yeah, he's he definitely gets about a few players and rattles a few of them, definitely.
He doesn't leave you alone, does he?
No, he doesn't. Yeah, and it's part of his game, and yeah, he definitely ruffles a few feathers for sure.
The manager said there was no setting targets. He's talking about the next game, which a lot of people say, but amongst yourselves, is there a feeling where you want to be by the end of the season? I mean, clearly in the Premier League.
Yeah, the Premier League would be good. Yeah, no, to be honest, I don't think points targets, because you never know how many you're going to need, because teams below you keep winning. Then all of a sudden you think, we'd have thought 7 games unbeaten would have got us well out of it, I guess, and left a few in it, but we're in and around it still, so you never know what's going to happen, I guess. And like I say, with the gaffer here, he will say it himself, 1 game for the next game, and we've done it before in the past, and it's proved well for us. So I think it's just one of them that we do again. We just keep going, keep winning, keep playing well, and try and continue this run that we've been on, I guess, but try and continue the performance level that we've been doing mainly, and the results will come, definitely.
And the Spurs game at Wembley, one of those afternoons where you've almost got the job done, and then not quite. Yeah,
it was a tough game. We defended really well. We perhaps didn't have the threat that we'd liked and maybe we possess now, so hopefully we'll be able to give them some more problems than maybe we gave them at their place. But obviously that last minute goal was a real sickener after defending well for most of the game. Like I say, I hope we can give them a bit more to think about going forward at our place.
Just a final point, how does Harry Kane play against him compared to other strikers? Is it the hardest test in the Premier League? Yeah,
he's a good player. Obviously, he's got real quality. He's fine with confidence. Every time I've played up against him, he's a real good player to play against, obviously, and he's one of the top boys in the Premier League for sure, without a doubt.
Cheers, Ben.
Thank you.
So, do you relish the challenge of playing someone like him, or would you rather that he wasn't quite fit for
No, of course, you got to relish playing against the big players. That's why we play football, definitely, to be up against the top players, to challenge yourself for sure, and it's certainly one you relish, playing up against anyone like that. You obviously want to come out on top and perform, but if he's not playing, then it'll be another quality player, I'm sure, to be up against. It'll be a different challenge, whether it's Llorente or Son or someone like that, different challenges. So yeah.
I mean, you talked about the Everton game, and how worried were you kind of around that point, or were you always confident that
yeah, I mean, it's concerning. We didn't, you don't want to be in that sort of situation, but it's only ourselves that could get out of it. I think. I think it was, like I say, it was a realisation of the situation we were in, I guess, and you're the only players, the only people that can get yourselves out of it are the team around you, and we've done well to react from it, and that's all you can ask, really, I think.
Thank you. Cameras off.